Us.
Yeah.
Go live. That's us there. Says we're live. Stop touching stuff.
All right. Excellent. All right, so I'm just going to share it. Right post. Hey everyone, I'm just telling you that we're live, so when you actually watch this, you can hear me say that. Done. We got 3 viewers.
Yeah.
So far. All right, Michael, we're ready to go.
Okay. Hi everybody. Oh, here we go.
Great start.
Hi everybody. Welcome to show 295 Aussie Mac Zone. We're only a day out. Had a little incident with the family. Sorted that out. Everybody's good. And Zarn, how are you?
I'm okay.
We both got a cold still. And the other challenges of life. Now, don't forget, we are brought to you by IT Help to You and Aussie Tech Heads.
Kellyanne just said, not good enough, by the way.
Okay.
And just think, only moments ago, you were saying how much you loved your daughter.
That's right.
I bet she feels great about that.
And one of our other listeners, Tim, it's his birthday, I want to say tomorrow. I have to look at my calendar again. I think it was tomorrow. So happy birthday, Tim. I'm sure it's this week.
Happy birthday, Tim.
So our first story for our Aussie Apple ramblings this week, Apple Pay and Tap and Go payments have now replaced the Opal card in New South Wales without incurring extra fees. So you can still get an Opal card and still get some of the benefits, some extra benefits, but you can now tap on and off your bus or train and get your bonuses like cheaper bus travel after getting off a train. Also, there won't be any fees added on, which has been the case in the last few months, I believe. So that's very good to hear. Finally, we're catching up with the way the world works. Yeah. That's excellent.
Look, Kellyanne, if you keep being cheeky, we'll kick you off this podcast, all right?
I thought you'd gone to bed sick. But anyway.
Yeah, sick in the head.
Now, also, this is pretty cool. Apple receives 2 Emmy nominations for Shot on iPhone and Behind the Mac ad campaigns. 9 to 5 Mac, care of Apple News, tells us the 71st annual Emmy Awards are coming up in September, and nominations have been announced today. Two of Apple's ads, both made with TBWA Ad Agency, have been nominated for Outstanding Commercial 2019. This year, the Emmys will be held on September 22, and the news about nominations was announced on the Television Academy's Emmy website. Apple's 2 nominations for Outstanding Commercial are for Behind the Mac, Make Something Wonderful, and Shot on iPhone XS, Don't Mess with Mother, sorry. There are only 5 commercials up for the award, so Apple receiving 2 nominations is impressive. The Mac and iPhone ads will be going up against commercials from Nike and Netflix. Pardon me. Pardon me. The Shot on iPhone Don't Mess with Mother is a minute-long ad featuring amazing shots of nature, wildlife, and insects from the latest iPhone flagship. It features Last Rites by Megadeth as the soundtrack. Behind them,
that's really cool.
Yeah, it is, and it's a great little ad. There are links to both of them.
I haven't seen this ad, people, so I'm excited.
There are links on the show notes. Now, Behind the Mac, Make Something Wonderful is another 1 minute commercial that highlights people of all ages, including many famous creators, using their Macs in candid shots. The ad is done in black and white and features the song Shy by Hushka, Hauschka. I hope that's how I do it. Now, while I was researching it, some more information came to light. Also, James Corden has 5 nominations, 4 for being a short-form variety series for Carpool Karaoke, the series writing for a variety special for Carpool Karaoke, When Corden Met McCartney Live from Liverpool, creative achievement in interactive media within an unscripted program for the Late Late Show Carpool Karaoke Primetime Special, an interactive program for the Late Show with James Corden. So there you go. James Corden, funny guy. It's amazing to think what he was in before he got into America. It's just astounding.
He was in so much. Like, we've got, because I like British comedy.
Yeah.
He co-wrote a series called what was it? Ned and Stacey? No, something.
Ned and Stacey, wasn't it?
Is it Ned and Stacey?
I think.
No, Greg and Stacey?
No.
It's not Ned. It's not Ned. I know that much.
All right.
I think.
But yeah, the one with the couple and yeah, good show too. I can't think of the name of it, but yeah.
He was in that. He was the best mate in that.
Yeah.
And but he's quite funny.
Yeah. So that's good to see. All those carpool karaoke's that people.
Carpool karaoke is also very good.
Yes, and it's being renewed, and it's only going to be on Apple Music, but it's not going to be on Apple TV.
Oh wow!
So because it is more music based.
Yep. But, fair enough.
So that's excellent. Yeah. Well done, James, and well done, Apple, and well done. What's the name of the TBWA ad agency? Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah. So don't forget, athwebhosting.com.au. Go in there, learn how to build your website. Great pricing. More importantly, great support. athwebhosting.com.au. And you can also do things like buy domains or buy better support if you need bigger support. Glenn can actually do your website for you, import it from another company, all that sort of stuff.
Excellent.
Yeah, it can be all done. You don't have to panic and don't start freaking out. So, yeah. Now, number 3 has a pic.
It does.
And we've got the picture there, but the video, there is a link in the show notes for the video. Video shows why Apple doesn't allow install replacement of swollen batteries. Now, Ben Lovejoy did a write again from 9 to 5 Mac, care of Apple News, tells us Apple carries out a number of iPhone repairs in store these days, but there is one fault that stores are forbidden from touching, and that's swollen batteries. In the photo, for those that can see it, I've put a green circle around a big flash, which is where we believe the technician, who's not really a technician, he's just a guy working on a phone, and you can tell he hasn't got any of the proper gear on the floor, on the table, or whatever he's working on. But so swollen batteries are just too high risk that these will be accidentally punctured during disassembly or removal. And a video of a do-it-yourself attempt at replacing a swollen battery in an iPhone 5S provides a graphic illustration of this. Reddit user Try Again in 47 seconds, great name, posted a video of a co-worker attempting to dismantle an iPhone which burst into flames. The most likely explanation is that the man punctured the battery. The battery itself appears to have been third party. The man then stamps on the phone to extinguish the flames. While it worked on this occasion, that too is an incredibly risky thing to do. Lithium-ion batteries burn fiercely at extremely high temperatures, and a very likely outcome is that they would simply burn through a shoe. Such fires are short-lived, so it may have burned itself out rather than being extinguished by stamping on
I
it.
was going to say, more than likely, it just extinguished itself.
Yes.
Lucky him.
Yep. Now, another Redditor commented on this. The fumes from the lithium-ion batteries are another hazard.
Yes.
All told, you don't want to go anywhere near messing with a swollen battery. Although lithium-ion battery fires are rare, unless you bought a Samsung Galaxy Note 7, the sheer number of devices
Sorry.
the sheer number of devices in use means that even a tiny percentage will result in a handful of files each year. The most recent example was an iPhone 6 owned by an 11-year-old girl that caught fire.
Yep.
The risk of fire is increased by using batteries, cables, and chargers from unknown brands that fail to meet the same safety standards as used by Apple and other reputable suppliers. Even just like buying those $3 cables, you don't know. The biggest trouble I believe with them that we've experienced is the lightning connector's too thick.
Yep.
So you put it in, and then none of your other good cables will work.
That's right.
So that's just a challenge. But yeah. Now over to our gaming section. We've got a few tonight.
Oh, we do.
With some big Fortnite weekend.
Yeah, a huge Fortnite weekend. Actually, it's been a big weekend for gaming in general on your mobile device as well. So the first story from Code of Mac tells us Fortnite players on iOS have been gifted 1,000 V-Bucks by Epic as an apology for a recent bug. Fans are unable to play the games after recent 9.40.1 patch introduced a big glitch. The only fix initially was to delete Fortnite and reinstall. Gigabytes of data all over again. The bug meant many Fortnite fans were unable to log into the game on iOS. And
isn't there a picture for this one too?
There is a picture for this. So yeah, there we go. Look, holding all his V-Bucks. And we've also got there we go, the Fortnite.
Yeah.
And so anyway, yeah. So those who could experience system crashes, rather than rolling out another fix, Epic asked players to reinstall another patch version, and was rolled out on iOS eventually, but by the frequent players had already gone through the trouble of downloading the game again. Epic now says sorry with free V-Bucks and battle stars. So yeah, grab your free V-Bucks if you want them, and you're an iOS player, they will give them to you. Excuse me.
Yeah, they're a pretty generous gift considering that would normally cost you, $10 to $12.
Yeah.
And you buy them through the App Store, but Epic doesn't give away free V-Bucks very often. No,
they do not.
But not everyone gets them. But some players are missing out this time as well.
Yeah. So next story.
Yeah.
Is from CNET, and it's Fortnite World Cup.
Okay.
So this is huge over the weekend.
Yes.
So very, very big. So more than 2 million people watched the best in the world compete for big money. I was only reading a 16-year-old won $4 million.
Yeah.
And then another 16-year-old player wins $3 million. Like, it's phenomenal. It's so good. They
had $30 million for the finals.
Yeah, that's right.
And they had $10 million just in the qualifying.
Yeah. And it was, so the free video game from developers of Epic Games have generated billions of dollars and become obsession for gamers of all age. The surge in popularity has brought Fortnite tournaments for eager esport gamers to watch and compete in. The biggest of them all is the Fortnite World Cup, and the one who took in all of Sunday was Kyle Yeah,
Bugger.
oh yeah, it is Bugger. I was like, is that Bugger? Gersdorf. The Fortnite World Cup Finals with a $30 million prize pool took place this weekend, so July 26th to 28th in New York City at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Who won the Fortnite World Cup? Sunday was the last day of the event, and it was all about the solo tournament players for all across the globe who qualified in smaller tournaments competing, and it was 16-year-old Kyle who won $3 million first prize and the title of best Fortnite player in the world. So that's massive.
That is something to live up to, something he'll be able to tell his kids.
16 years old and he's the best Fortnite player in the world. I know lots of older blokes that are absolutely screaming about this.
You being one of them.
Jake being one of them as well. He started the day strong, winning the first of 6 games. In the next 5 games, he continued to place high and accumulating more eliminations, giving him the point lead. He kept the top spot throughout the day and had commanding lead in the last game where it seemed almost impossible for him to lose. Twitch tracking site estimated 1.3 million people watched the Sunday final via the video game streaming site YouTube. On YouTube, there were 500,000 tuning in for the event. There were also viewers on Microsoft streaming services, and players were able to watch the final while playing Fortnite thanks to new services from Epic. I've got there's a esports channel on my set-top box. They do a lot of stuff overseas and things like that, so I'm waiting for it to hit that, and later in the week, I hope, and I'll give it a watch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Excellent. Yeah. Also, last but definitely not least, did anybody notice anything strange about their Pokemon Go? I can tell you, I did. So, Team Rocket took over Pokemon Go over the weekend. So you'd go to Pokestops and battle, and Pokestops and stuff like that. They were taking over Pokestops. They were trying to steal your Pokemon, that sort of stuff. And there's meant to be more of Team Rocket during the week. I haven't had a chance to get on and play yet because I've been busy with adult stuff. But I got a day free tomorrow, so I'm hoping Mason and I will get out there and do some Pokemon hunting and maybe battle some Team Rocket stuff. So
excellent. Excellent.
Really cool I've been waiting. I really wanted to see Team Rocket on Pokemon Go, and finally, after 3 years of playing, they're here, and so I'm hoping to get some fun out of Team Rocket. Hopefully, they will make a Team Rocket that you can actually join. That'd be cool too. Well, that's it. That's all done for me.
Thank you.
That's my gaming stuff for the week. Back to you, Michael.
Excellent. Thanks, buddy. Now, WannaCry hero Marcus Hutchins sentenced to supervised release. Engadget reports, care of Apple News. Marcus Hutchins' efforts to stop the spread of WannaCry malware just helped him to avoid prison time. The judge has sentenced Hutchins to a year of supervised release after he pleaded guilty to creating and distributing Kronos banking malware. He was a teen when he committed the offences, according to the judge, and he was turning a corner before he faced charges. Hutchins acknowledged that he'd made bad decisions and that he had no desire to slip back into a life of online crime. There could still be serious consequences, although Hutchins has been living in Los Angeles since the charges came to pass. The judge warned that the sentence will likely prevent the security researcher from re-entering the US. This isn't likely to satisfy people who argued Hutchins should avoid any punishment given his efforts. It's still good news for him, though, and many help the security industry and may help the security industry at large. On top of snapping up the kill switch domain that halted WannaCry, Hutchins also conducted important research on botnets and malware infections. He even live streamed some efforts to show how you can reverse engineer malware and develop effective counters. Those efforts will continue now that Hutchins is effectively free, even if there are conditions attached. So well done. Excellent. Yes, if you do the right thing, you can be accepted into society correctly. Yeah, he could have been jailed for a few years, but because he'd already turned the corner and was doing the right thing, so proud of him.
Well done. Yes.
Now, this is a bit of reading in this story, but I want you to have a think about it, and you can put comments as we go too. What happens when our smart homes enforce moral values? Forbes, Kerr of Apple News, gives us some serious thinking to do. Discussions on censorship and content moderation tend to focus on the online world, especially the ways in which social media platforms decide what their users are permitted to see and say. Yet, as our homes become increasingly digital and internet connected, with everything from toasters to thermostats being connected to remote cloud services that control them, what happens is those devices increasingly come with terms of service that enforce certain moral values and permit their deactivation at the whim of the manufacturer. After all, if Microsoft can terminate our use of Office 365 and stop us from logging into our Windows devices, all because we posted a pro-women's rights document online in a country where such speech is illegal, how long will it be before our thermostats make us endure 100 degrees Fahrenheit heat as retaliation for posting negative online review about its manufacturer? When it comes to the dangers of smart home devices, the public and policymaker focus has been almost exclusively on privacy concerns and cyber vulnerabilities. The idea of device manufacturers deliberately manipulating their devices to enforce corporate moral values is not even on the horizon of most of our social conversations. Yet, if Microsoft is willing to define a set of acceptable speech guidelines for Office 365 that mean a Word document it disagrees with can lead to a user being permanently banned from both Office 365 and Windows that logs them into their computer, how long will it be before other device manufacturers build such moral values into their own products? Now, initially, such rights are likely to come in boilerplate legalese, built on the user agreements that we don't read, to mitigate their legal liabilities when things go wrong with the products. Yet once those rights are in place, there is nothing to stop companies from leveraging those rights for nefarious purposes. Much as Facebook attempted to restrict the use of its platform to criticise its business practices due to a disagreement over the use of its logo, so too You got a picture up there, Zarn?
Sorry, I do.
Just saw that come up. So too could companies restrict the use of their products by those who criticise them.
Is it that? Sorry, Michael.
No.
I ducked away for a second because I was trying not to cough over the microphone.
Yeah.
I've got something for story 8, but I don't have anything for this one.
No, but there's a picture up on the screen.
Oh, no?
That's what I'm seeing.
Okay.
The live stream's got the photo of the phone exploding.
Oh, that's weird. I don't have that. I just put up the photo for story 8, but now that I realize I made a mistake, so I've taken it down.
Anyway, don't know what's going on there. Initially, such rights are likely to come in the boilerplate legalese, which we've done. Now, take the example of a user who posts a negative online review after their toaster breaks down one day after its warranty expires. A manufacturer whose terms of service bans negative posts about the company could easily retaliate by disabling the user's other products from that manufacturer, potentially disabling their entire kitchen and holding the ability to cook hostage until they delete the negative post. In some jurisdictions, this entire process might be absolutely legal. It's just gone back to that photo, went away from the photo and it's gone back there again now.
Sweet.
What about an air conditioning company that wants to combat climate change? During heat waves, it could remotely throttle the cooling of its units to reduce energy usage. Local governments might also collaborate with the company to enforce cooling restrictions during particularly hot days, like South Australia, where they had challenges there until they got the battery system in place.
That's right.
Now, what happens when an elderly relative with a medical condition visits a home whose air conditioner is remotely turned off by the manufacturer to be greener during a heat wave and leads to their death? Could the company be charged with murder?
Absolutely.
What about a city that remotely disables all televisions, speakers and other loud devices and sets all phone volumes to a minimum after 8 p.m. to enforce noise audiences, or disables all kitchen appliances from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. to combat obesity?
What is this, 1984?
Something like that.
Oh, George Orwell, like Big Brother's watching you.
That's right. Now, what happens when our smartphone manufacturer decides we're spending too much time on our screen instead of with our children? So it turns off our phone for an hour, or an oven that senses that we're about to cook a pie that contains a high amount of sugar, so refuses to cook it. What about a social media platform that contracts with phone and television manufacturers to automatically turn off users' devices to enforce a 1 hour time out for each fake news post they make on social media? That's fine by me.
What I think they should do is they should just like take all bans off everything away. They're worried about overpopulation. Watch how quickly the population declines.
And now, conversely, what about a company that rejects the idea of climate change and penalises users who discuss climate change online by holding their washing machine hostage or turning down their thermostat in the middle of winter?
Holding your washing machine hostage.
Imagine a government that wishes to silence its critics without impacting the rest of society. Power and internet outages affect all aspects of society indiscriminately and thus cannot be enforced for long stretches of time. Instead, imagine if a representative government could use a lawful court to order it to turn its nation's devices against the users. Any social media post criticising the government would result in an automatic outage of all internet service to that user for 24 hours. A second event might result in the user's television and lights being turned off for an entire day, or outages of other basic household devices. Now, while all of these examples might seem absurd today, they represent the logical extension of devices that are increasingly imbued with moral values remotely enforced by their manufacturers through internet connectivity.
See, I thought the three values, or the values were, well, you've seen iRobot, right? So you must help humans, to harm humans, and
Now, moreover, they represent.
It would, though. It'd go against you. They wouldn't be allowed to cut, Anyway, that's a completely different argument.
Depends who they are, but.
Exactly. Anyway.
Yeah. And moreover, they represent extensions of existing government behaviour across the world. By leveraging internet connectivity to automate what today is largely a manual process, enabling extension to an entire nation. Now, putting all this together, as our smart homes are increasingly filled with internet-connected devices that listen to us, they can be remotely disabled or modified by manufacturers, which is what we want. If my router has got software that needs updating, we want to be able to update it. So we want to be able to modify it, don't we?
If they're listening to us, they should be able to sponsor us.
Yes. Governments are likely to lead the way, turning to such devices to intervene during weather or power emergencies, but later to maintain order during protests. Even within the United States, it's not hard to imagine local governments utilising court orders to mass disable phones, television, lights and other devices block by block to disperse protests with pinpoint
Oh, they're
precision.
not allowed to do that sort of stuff. It's against the. Yeah, they're not allowed to do that.
Anyway, it's just that's something to think about in the future.
Yeah.
So, when everything's switchable on and off like that.
Hopefully, within in this time,
Yeah.
in the future, America won't have that much power anyway. So, the way they're going, it's not going to be long. I'm joking, America. We love you.
Now, the winners of the 12th annual iPhone Photography Awards have been announced. The Washington Post reports selected from thousands of entries from more than 140 countries. Now, when the iPhone Photography Awards were launched in 2007, photo-capable telephones were still in their infancy, with very low resolution and heavy pixelation. That was the time when stylized filters were commonplace, and the idea of a professional photographer using an iPhone was considered a faux pas. A lot has changed since then, and as this year's winner in the iPhone Photography Awards show, the quality of images has come a long way. Keenan Aktulin, who created the awards, agreed. This year's entries come from a very personal place, with less technical experimentation and more focus on moments, emotions, and stories, he told Insight. Now, there's some great photos there, some great photos. There's one taken at a beach where it's got some tents up, which are stripes, and the guy is wearing striped clothes that go with it.
Excellent.
Very
Cool.
Another one. This week, ithelptoyou.com.au. Don't forget that. www.ithelptoyou.com.au. And if you need some help with particularly Apple stuff, but it's getting to the point where cyber security is becoming important, have a think about it. Just get in touch. That's all we ask. We don't push hard. We're working hard. So www.ithelptoyou.com.au. Now, Australia Post has a pick. Now, Australia Post, a trusted service provider for government identification. ZDNet tells Australia Post Digital Identification Service has been accredited by the federal government under its Trusted Digital Identity Framework, giving the Postal Service the Trusted Identity Provider status as a result. The government-owned entity had announced in May 2017 it wanted to create the federal government's digital identity platform, saying at the time it would team up with the Digital Transformation Agency to create a proof of concept that integrates its ID system with the Commonwealth's Digital Identity Framework. Former Australia Post Managing Director and Group CEO Ahmed Fahor said previously that he believed an identity solution like digital ID would unlock significant benefits for everyday Australians interacting with government processes. The remarks followed the Postal Service detailing its plan to run elections using blockchain-based technology. The Australia Post Digital ID is the second identity provider to be accredited, with the federal government's MyGov ID being the first. The introduction of Australia Post as a second digital provider into the digital identity system is one of the foundational steps needed for the system to develop into a true whole economy solution, Roberts said. Providing Australians with choice and control of who they share identity information with was one of the one of the recommendations of the Financial Services Inquiry, and that we have delivered on, he added. The Australia Post Digital ID was officially launched in 2017. There are a handful of services that accept the identification platform, such as bitcoin.com.au, CoinJar, Airtasker, and Credit Union Australia. Australia Post Digital ID is currently approved for use in Victoria, the Northern Territory, Queensland, Tasmania, and the Australian Capital Territory. In Victoria, locals are able to use the digital ID as a proof of age card to enter a pub, using an on-screen animation that prevents replication and creates a temporary QR code that can scan to verify age. People in the Northern Territory could not use it to purchase takeaway alcohol, however. Speaking at the Technology and Government Conference in Canberra in August, Australia Post Digital ID General Manager and Founder said the organisation, I'm not sure why that says in August, said the organisation was looking at bringing real-world ways people identified one another to a digital context. So that's our show. Any comments, buddy?
That's amazing. By the way, all that stuff. I really like the fact that they can do that.
Yeah.
Oops, I've just done that. That was wrong. Yeah. Other than that, I've got nothing.
But yeah, it's another form of ID that's been accredited.
Yep.
So.
And it's digital.
Yeah.
Which is great.
So we'll be able to use our licenses soon in Sydney. They're doing tests over in the eastern suburbs at the moment.
Yep.
So hopefully that won't take too long and we'll be raring to go.
Excellent.
Yeah. So don't forget, show notes link each week on show uploading. The link being aussiemaczone.com.au, Aussie-Mac-Zone-episode-295 this case. If you go there, you'll see the last 6 weeks show notes. Spotify, just search for Aussie Mac Zone. Don't forget to look for favourite us in Apple News. Tell your friends about the podcast. Go in rated if you want to. It's totally up to you. Always helps.
Does help.
Yeah. And thanks to our sponsors this week being Aussie Tech Heads, athwebhosting.com.au, and IT Help to You. But more importantly, our supporters, you, our listeners. And over to you, Zarn.
Thanks again, guys, for an excellent podcast. And remember, an apple a day keeps the androids away. See you later.